Hi guys, my name is Fers, and 10 years ago I created my own comic book. And today, Soul Keepers has become the best-selling comic book series in Mexico. And one of the things I enjoy the most is drawing girls. This is my style. And today I'm gonna show you how to draw the famous Rogue from the X-Men comic. So, are you ready? Let's go! Echando trazos! Well guys, let's get started. I'm going to draw this Rogue from the famous X-Men comic from Marvel. I'm going to use tabloid size paper, and for my initial pencils I'm going to use a Staedtler H. I recommend you that you start with very basic shapes like this circle for the head, and it's going to be the same for the rest of the body. It's always better that you divide your pencils in these two main phases. The first phase, that is what I'm doing right now, I'm only going to use very simple forms for the main parts of the body, the chest, the arms, and all the rest of the anatomy, the legs. And this is important because it's easier for us to draw these characters if we start with these simple lines. We can know where are we going to locate the character in the paper. We can know what's going to be the pose we are looking for, the action pose. And for example, for this Rogue, well, I'm going for a very classic pose from the comic book. Next steps, well, I'm going to put a little of detail in these basic pencils, the jacket, some of the hair. But remember, this is very important. Always in this first phase, keep it very simple, with simple lines, simple forms, very basic, because this way it's going to be very simple for you to draw this kind of characters. Before I start the second phase, I'm going to draw a little all the hair area, and well, the X-Men logo that she's going to have, some parts of her suit. And well, right now we're ready to start the second phase. The second phase, it's all about details. Now we are going to draw and detail her face. We start with the nose, eyes, shape of her head, her mouth, and so on. Here in this second phase, we can add very precisely details in everything we want to make with her expression. It's very important. Right now I'm making the shape of her head, and in this phase we also start to detail her clothes and some extra details like this headband that it's very characteristic of this character. We continue with the rest of her body, her jacket, chest, and well, it's very important also in this second phase that we add some shadows. It's important to locate the shadows before we pass to the inking process. And well, for those who probably are asking themselves what those echando trazos mean, Well, the translation for my channel's name, it's like throwing lines, like throwing strokes. It's like a freehand sketching experience. So that's the name of this channel, Echando Trazos. And well, I want for everybody of you to know the translation of this. Well, we continue with the rest of the pencils. Right now I'm drawing her belt and the X symbol. We're going to continue with the jacket, her jacket, some more lines, the arm. I'm going to make some shadows to ink later. Okay, we add the shadows. Perfect. And with this I'm going to continue right now with the other arm, part of the jacket, the other arm, some of the details, and with this we are going to draw her hand. And well, remember, this is very important because drawing hands, it's not that simple how it seems. So remember that the best trick to draw hands, it's no other than practice and more practice. And really, this is the only way that you're going to master this. So right now we have her arms, her hands, some other details, and I'm going to continue with her hair. Okay, her hair. Let's make some lines here. Perfect. All these, when we start to ink it, it's going to take more detail, more shadows. But right now, with this, we're ready. Okay, right now I'm going to finish this pencil part with her legs. And remember, it's always very important to take care of the proportions. Right now I'm starting to draw the rest of her legs, part of her suit. Okay, these superhero boots he used. And with this I'm going to finish the last part of the pencils, her legs, last part of her suit. And well, with this we're done with the pencils, and we're ready to go to the inking part. Okay guys, let's start the inking process. For this part I'm going to use this artist pen. It's Faber-Castell brand. I use the Faber-Castell and I combine them with the Pigma Micron. I use these two brands for my inking process in my illustrations, and right now it's what I'm using to ink this Rogue from the X-Men. I use the inking process for the eyebrows, and well, I'm using for the little details and more precision in her face. I use the Faber-Castell XS point. I like this point because it gives me a lot of precision in my lines. And well, with this I'm going to continue all the inking process of her face and all these little details that we have to do in this illustration. Well, it's important that you have different size of points in your artist pen. I mean that you have some very fine points and thicker points. That's what I like to use these two brands, Faber-Castell and the Pigment Micron, because their points are not exactly the same. There are some difference between these two brands, so I like to combine them. Right now I'm going to continue all her hair, and as you can see, I'm using right now the Pigment Micron, and in this case in Pigment Micron I'm using the number 3. This is what I'm using, number 3, for the rest of the hair. And as we continue with the rest of the illustration, well, I'm going to use the same Pigment Micron, but I'm going to change for the 5 and 8 point. So in this way I'm going to continue and combine different points, some a little more fine point, another more thicker points, but in this combination is as we can get the best results for our illustrations and for this inking process. Right now I'm using the Faber-Castell, but this is different because it's probably the thicker artist pen that I'm going to use right now. And this one, it's perfect for this kind of lines, for this kind of thicker strokes where you need a lot of black. So we are going to continue this inking process of this Rogue from the X-Men and the Marvel comics. And well, finally, we're going to finish this illustration. I'm going to add some shades. For this, I'm going to use these Copic markers. And well, sometimes I put full color on my illustrations. Sometimes I like to finish like this, only with a little shading. And well, I like the result of this. Okay, let's put our signature in the illustration, and don't forget to follow me in my other social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Chano Trazos with Fers.